Hey, listener, Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0, ArrowFM and NPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Howdy.
We have a lot to get through this week, and we're just going to start into it. SummerSlam, the pre-show Cruiserweight Championship ended up exactly where we expected it to. Drew Gulak successfully defending against Oney Lorcan.
Yeah, it was a good match. It wasn't a great match like the previous one, but it was a good match.
Honestly, it's really hard for these cruiserweights to put on what I would refer to as a bad match. Usually pretty good. Oney Lorcan seems to be continuing the feud a little bit further down the line on 205 Live. But in terms of who Drew's next title challenger is, we're going to have to wait and see for that. Possibly Oney getting another shot. One man we know it won't be is 205 alumni Buddy Murphy, who picked up his first main roster pay-per-view match. It was on the kickoff show, but he won it, but it was by disqualification.
Yeah, he got absolutely annihilated at the pay-per-view, but got a reward for his trouble in having what was arguably match of the month with Roman Reigns on SmackDown.
Yeah, with regards to the SummerSlam match, I'm just gonna put a line under the words Buddy Murphy defeated Apollo Crews. Ignore the rest of the line, and as you say, we'll move on. We'll talk about the SmackDown match. Buddy Murphy obviously revealing that Eric Rowan was the one that tried to attack Roman Reigns, and then it just spins out of control. Situation continues to adapt, but Eric Rowan and Daniel Bryan Eric Rowan attacking Buddy Murphy, and then it all rolls together, and we end up with the SmackDown Live match, as you say, Roman Reigns sadly defeating Buddy Murphy, but making a star out of Buddy Murphy in the process.
Yeah, that was definitely about making Buddy. It was not a squash by any stretch of the imagination. There was no burial here. It was every bit of... It took everything the top star had to beat him. And that's a major launching point for somebody like Buddy Murphy.
That's immediately, upper mid-card level. I'm not directly one-to-one comparing it, but I'm looking at the Seth Rollins Neville match as well, in terms of slightly lower down guy puts on an absolute banger with one of the top five.
Yeah, but it may be even more higher of it because it wasn't just a top five guy. It was the top guy.
The top one guy.
Yes. It was like any of the United States Open Challenge matches Cena had.
It sure was a good one. But the 2 minutes we've just talked about it is all the time we have for it. It's the only problem with massive pay-per-view shows and 28 minutes to fill. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross successfully defending their titles against the Iconics. Double hitter here with the Australians losing. But also matches we knew that they'd lose anyway.
Yeah. And then they were successfully retained against the Kabuki Warriors on Raw.
Sort of just clearing out any of the immediate challenges in Bliss and Cross's way.
Yeah, it's definitely... I think it's working. There was definitely questions about what kind of alignment they had with Alexa Bliss coming out in the Buzz Lightyear ring gear, and it absolutely driving Corey Graves crazy in a way that it normally isn't the way he's driven crazy by Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, normally if Corey Graves hates you, then that would plant you squarely as a face. But it looks like they're playing all over the alignment chart.
Kind of like the mental stability of one and a half of the tag team champions.
Yeah. And weirdly enough, Nikki's the most stable of the two of them. That's not saying good things for Alexa Bliss. Then let's swing into the main show. Opens up with the Raw Women's Championship match. Becky Lynch successfully defending against Natalya.
No surprise here.
Sending the Canadians home sad.
That's okay. They got sent home happier later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good match, and didn't really have any problems with it.
The main part for this championship, though, again, is what happened over on Raw. Sasha Banks making her return and pretty emphatically stating what she wants.
Yeah, she demolished and injured Natalya. Becky came out to try to help, and then got a chair to the head for her trouble.
I think Sasha wants a title shot.
I think that was pretty clear when she threw her tantrum at WrestleMania.
Well, now she's come to collect 4 months later and get her title shot. But to me, it seems pretty clear Sasha Banks versus Becky's going to be the next feud for this championship now.
Yeah. Honestly, it probably will be the one that brings down the man.
Okay. Bold prediction, or you think it's a fairly safe prediction?
I would say probably a mixture of both.
Okay. Well, while we're here in the women's division, let's round them all up. So let's go to the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley successfully defending against Ember Moon.
Much to my chagrin.
Yep. And mine.
It was a decent match. I don't know. They didn't seem to click the way I thought they would. And I have a feeling that Bayley is about to face the fourth member of the Four Horsewomen. We're going to have 2 feuds combining all 4 horsewomen at the same time.
Yeah, it's a fair assumption to say because later on in the night, Charlotte Flair lays Trish Stratus down for the final tap out by the seams of it.
And an absolutely amazing match. Trish had it. Still had it. I'm surprised. I'll admit it. I didn't think she would have it, but she did.
It was,
but then again,
by 5 seconds, the second longest match of the night.
But then again, she was in the ring with Charlotte, who was probably the best female to ever lace the boots in WWE.
That's a big claim. And I know you fought for it last week. You're just staking it into the ground. You're like, don't forget I said this, guys. But yeah, so Charlotte Flair defeats Trish, Ember Moon unsuccessful in her championship match, and then that leads us over to SmackDown, where the two collide, and Charlotte Flair defeats Ember Moon, and as you say, seems to put her on a projection for the title. Yeah,
I wouldn't see why not. She just defeated what everybody considered up to that point the greatest of all time, in Trish. She defeated the previous number 1 contender. Logic says that it would be odds are that she would be the next number 1 contender for Bayley's championship, who Bayley beat to get the championship in the first place.
Bit of a long way round to get the rematch. But yeah, I'm definitely seeing that as the next feud, as you say, involving the 4 horsewomen over 2 feuds, over 2 brands, over 2 titles. I sometimes do not necessarily worry. It is highlighted that the spotlight is just so highly shone on these 4 women. So I'm hoping that we can continue a feud that does not involve those 4, or the women's tag team champions, because I assume those will be forgotten in 6 days anyway. And just try to keep something going that's not just those 4. I'll just cross my fingers for that one quietly. Let's get the song out of the way early. Let's bang it out now. We're gonna play Buddy Murphy's theme because Josh threw me a bone. He saw how awesome my continent buddy was. Yeah. Let's play that. It is his old theme though, because I couldn't find his new theme. So you do have to put up with that. Sorry. And you're back with Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0 NPR ArrowFM. I'm Grady, he's Josh, and we still have a bunch of matches from SummerSlam to get through, as well as some Raw and some SmackDown and some next week Raw. It's gonna be chaos. But let's quickly jump into something that was quite quick in itself. Goldberg defeating Dolph Ziggler.
If you can listen really closely, you could still hear the sound of Dolph getting speared.
Well, that's all we have to say about that match. Let's talk about the next match. That was also Goldberg defeating Dolph Ziggler, and the next one.
Go. Yeah. Dolph absolutely lost his mind.
Hey, anyone can get lucky twice.
Yeah, I think he got speared in the next year. Forget next week.
Yeah, it seemed like quite the exclamation point for Goldberg. Will he ride off into the sunset? Don't know.
Probably not. I could see a battle of the Masters of the Spears at WrestleMania.
Now, I know we saw Edge pull one off on the pre-show with Elias, but you're excluding him, right?
Yeah, I'm excluding him. As far as I'm concerned, he will never wrestle again.
We never thought he'd spear again. Conspiracy theory music play in the background.
No, obviously I'm talking about Roman Reigns versus Goldberg.
Okay. I could definitely see it. Roman's got to finish up whatever he's doing at the moment, which could lead for quite a while. So maybe Goldberg sort of just sits in the wings?
Maybe, or maybe he goes and beats up on the leader of the bros.
Maybe. We have so many options to go with Goldberg. I'd prefer him to lay low, but I don't know. I worry is my only thing. I worry. Let's go with the United States Championship. Just to make you cry, even though you knew it was happening. AJ Styles successfully defended against Ricochet. I'm going to say successfully defended a lot tonight.
Yeah, it was a good match. As you said, I wasn't surprised because I predicted what happened. So, but Ricochet's still in upper mid card, so not that big of a deal.
Now the match we really need is Ricochet versus Buddy Murphy.
Unfortunately, can't happen.
Well, let's talk about that later on. I just realized I segued to the end of the show, and we still have 10 minutes and a lot of matches to go. So sort of pause it there. Pretend that segue is still in there, and then we'll talk about it later. But yes, the OC still holding the belts for the near future. I'm assuming this is sort of an end for that.
Yeah, I have no idea what the plans are for them as far as the tag titles go, but it's clear there's plans for the OC as a group.
Because if we look at the main event of Raw, Seth Rollins was taking on AJ Styles, and then we got Braun Strowman and Ricochet jumping in to level out the OC. So that provides us with a 3-on-3, but it is a really weird combination given they have a tag team belt. Maybe Braun Strowman and Ricochet is a tag team.
Well, they did have a tag team match on the Raw I saw in person, but honestly, from what I understand, next week it will be Braun versus AJ for the United States Championship.
Well, Ricochet will be a little busy next week. Then what else do we have here? We have Kevin Owens defeating Shane McMahon. Had Owens lost, he would have quit WWE, but he didn't. And Elias was the special guest enforcer.
Yeah, it gave everybody what they wanted, except with the ending of the match, because it allowed the feud to continue.
Well, it's Austin McMahon. It's got to keep continuing.
Yeah, the low blow is the problem.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was a good match. I'm not surprised that Kevin Owens won. So, it is what it is. We'll have to see where they're going, but obviously, Kevin Owens' wallet's a little lighter.
Is over on Rory, gets a nice... SmackDown. He gets a nice little fine for what he did.
Yeah, for attacking Elias, who was an official.
And then got himself a match against Samoa Joe with Elias once again as the special guest enforcer.
Who then decided to count a fast 3 on him.
Yeah. There's the list of people who are on Shane McMahon's side against Kevin Owens is really growing. Elias, obviously his number one stooge. Backup. Samoa Joe's some pretty good muscle if he's going to slide into that group.
Yeah, and yeah, I suppose so. But I was kind of entertaining the idea of a face Samoa Joe.
No.
After the attack on Roman with the car, kind of planted the seeds. I'm like, well, that would be something I'd like to see.
No. I'm not against it. What do we have left on SummerSlam? We still have 3 more matches. Kofi Kingston successfully retaining his title against Randy Orton after 16 minutes in a double countout because Kofi Kingston got wee mad.
It was an alright match. Strange ending, but it wasn't. The ending was that way to continue the feud. Obviously, we're going to Clash of the Champions next with these two. Probably ending up in a Hell in a Cell match at one point.
The use of strange, I think, is probably the best way you could describe that ending. It was just unexpected. You know, when it went off and I just sort of see Kofi Kingston beating the ever-loving HE double hockey sticks out of Randy Orton, and you're just sort of sitting there going like, okay, cool. In the daytime, this guy wears a unicorn horn and dances around in pancakes, and then you talk to his kid, and all of a sudden he's a murderer.
And also throwing pancakes and hitting people in the head with them. God, that was so funny.
The demeanor's definitely shifted. We still have so many matches. Bray Wyatt as the Fiend defeated Finn Balor and killed him.
He definitely tried. There was a segment in the match where he tried to snap Finn's neck.
Yeah, I said Kofi was a murderer. Like, the Fiend straight up tried.
It was for what it was. It was a decent match, but it was all about that entrance.
The Fiend is going to be special.
Yeah. And what about that lantern?
That lantern took me ages to figure out what I was looking at, and then when I realized, I was creeped out.
Yes. Yeah, he's got his whole head in his hands with the eyes shown shut.
Yeah. It was a thing. It very much just, cut off Bray Wyatt's head, shoved a lantern in his mouth, and then sewed his eyes shut. What else are you gonna do with a head?
Shrink it?
Yep. Also an option. But yeah, so the Fiend. We're gonna have to see what's gonna be in the Fiend's future. But an interesting segment from the pre-show where Finn Balor was offered by AJ Styles and the club, or the OC, sorry. He was offered some help, alluding much towards what you want us to have in about 3 months anyway.
Yeah, and now that what's happened in the main event of SummerSlam happened, yeah, that actually makes more sense now.
Well, what a segue from you. Let's talk about it. The Universal Championship, the match that nobody predicted correctly. Seth Rollins defeats Brock Lesnar legitimately 1, 2, 3, squeaky clean, middle of the ring.
Yeah, there's no low blow this time.
There's no asterisks. There's no nothing.
Yeah, and it was a legitimate match, and it was the best match of the night.
Again, another thing nobody predicted going into it.
Yeah, what can we say? These two brought it. They tore the house down. And at the end of the day, we have a full-time Universal Champion again.
Yeah, it's a Universal Champion who will be, appearing on Raw and SmackDown every week, sure, but now my question is, what is Brock Lesnar's future?
Probably SmackDown Live.
Oh.
Around October.
R.I.P. Kofi, if he's still holding belt. But yeah, I did not see Seth winning that title back. Full stop.
I didn't either, but Finn versus Seth already has a built-in story. With them being the competitors for the first ever Universal title match. And Finn having to surrender the title after winning it. And then you can add in the OC, and in a couple months, boom, Seth versus the OC is in place, and we have Finn as Universal Champion.
Done. Book it. Easy as pie. Now, we got a couple things on Raw and SmackDown I want to try and skim through. Andrade and Rey Mysterio had a nice, sweet little 2 out of 3 falls match on Raw.
Don't you mean a 2 falls match?
You make a good point. It's not very often that those end in 2. Hashtag
And
Andrade
now,
for the win.
Rey Mysterio is now wondering, what do I do with my life?
Drew McIntyre, he picked up a win. Just going to mention that and then move on. R-Truth, he threw the 24/7 title around a little while, and I believe it's currently in the hands of Elias.
Yes. He lost it to the Revival, co-champions, first ones.
Of course.
Who then was, let's see here, in the hijinks, I forget who pinned them next, and then
R-Truth pinned them.
End up with it again. And then, as he was trying to escape, he started to cut a promo about being a 72-time champion when he's actually a 12. And he got hit in the back with a guitar, pinned, and Elias walked away with the title. Literally.
Yeah.
And then on SmackDown, nobody was allowed to compete for the title because the rule was suspended for the night.
Elias becoming the 4th person to hold the title more than a day. With R-Truth, Drake Maverick, and the first pregnant champion.
Yeah. And the second time that he's done that, because Shane McMahon suspended the title rule.
Yeah. Viking Raiders still wreaking havoc on SmackDown.
Poor local jobbers.
Sorry, Raw. Yeah, pretty much just taking out jobbers week after week after week. That's got to end soon, right?
Sooner or later. But then again, sooner or later, the Street Profits have to start wrestling.
Yeah, but they're all overshadowed by the fact that the OC have to hold on to the belts for this perfect future. And you don't really want either of those teams losing when they come off a hot streak. And then on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan suggests he knows who targeted Roman Reigns, so they're still trying to figure out who done it, despite Buddy just saying, straight up, it was Eric.
Well, they convince Buddy to recant his statement about it being Rowan, in much the same way that Roman got the confession out of Buddy.
At this point, I don't quite know who actually did it.
I think it was Daniel Bryan, but it's definitely a fun storyline to try to figure this out.
And then the last thing that I promised that we would have time to talk about, King of the Ring, starts off next week on Raw. Let's just run down the competitors. On Raw, we got The Miz, Cedric Alexander, Samoa Joe, Drew McIntyre, my boy, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro. On SmackDown, we got Kevin Owens, Ali, Apollo Crews, Chad Gable, Elias, Andrade, Shelton Benjamin, and 2 I missed out, Ricochet and Buddy Murphy. There's where the segue lands. 20 minutes later, we can have them face off.
No, we can't.
There is a chance.
No, there's not.
There is a chance.
My guess is that off the Raw bracket, it'll either be Drew or Ricochet. My guess on the SmackDown side will it be either Elias or Kevin Owens.
Hold on, Samoa Joe is a Raw superstar?
Yes, he is.
Oh my god.
You remember he was the United States champion and came over in the Superstar Shuffle.
Okay. I would just like to point out that this is quite an amazing group of 16.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much no punches pulled here. This is all upper mid-card with maybe 2 or 3 mid-card in there. Even a couple main events, too.
Can we just say how great it is that the King of the Ring is back?
Yeah.
Hopefully they do more with this King than they've done with the last 2.
Oh, last two.
That would be Wade Barrett and Sheamus.
Okay. Let me point out, Wade Barrett's awesome. And then I'll move on. That's
but
all I
his
have to
reign
say.
as king was not.
That is fair. All right. So then, if those are your picks for the final, who is going to win? Who is going to be the next king?
I think it's going to be Elias.
Okay.
I don't know why, but something tells me it'll be Elias. It'll either be him or Drew.
Well, clearly I'm going to pick my boy Drew, so...
Yeah. I could see it maybe going to a face like Ricochet or Kevin Owens, but I just think it'll be going to one of the heels. And the two most likely heels to win are Drew and Elias.
Irish King champ Sheamus, British King Wade Barrett, time for a Scottish King Drew McIntyre. Easy peasy. And with that, we've run out of time. It's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingOutRadio, Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingOutRadio, and we'll see you next week.